Hello everyone, this will be the review of game Great Heroes Bird, and the key was provided by developer. This game is a clicker or rather idle game to some extent. The most part of the game is being just an idle thing that you cannot really interact with. You can just do it in between of specific runs, in between of combat. You can pretty much add stuff to your character and then send him to another combat. So it's in this genre of clicker idle games, even though you don't really get much just by leaving the game offline. Actually, you get nothing. You have to keep checking every few minutes, and additionally you don't have any microtransactions, but the game is paid. You have to pay for it, which is weird in terms of clicker games, which are usually free to play with microtransactions. This is a different idea. You pay once, you can play as much as you want. So basically we have this hero here. You can see he's constantly fighting against this snowman. It does nothing, it's just visualization. What you have to do, you have to go to well, here, find a place where you want to fight. Basically you always go for the furthest area you can. Like in my case it would be here, or it would be here, right? By the way, I clicked something. Alright, so we go to some area. You can speed it up in this case because I will beaten it, but I'm gonna leave it. We have the bar of HP going up, the yellow one at the bottom. Our HP is also at the bottom, level is on the bottom right. And you can leave it like this, let the guy fight. You cannot really do anything, you can spend any powers, everything is passive. You just leave him like this, he does his fighting. And maybe I will speed it up, right? We're fighting some boss or sub-boss, and then either we die or we don't. In this case we win. It does really nothing if we already beaten the level. Now I can go to the, well, I can go to this place. Let me just minimize the OBS. Right, so now I see what I'm doing. You can add more stuff that you gained, but all of it is weak pretty much, so I can just destroy it. If you destroy your stuff, it fills this bar. When it goes fully, you get some better gear like the epic or very rare items usually. And here you have stats. You can add to one of the 5 stats. What I was doing, I was just going from the bottom up 1 point subsequently, and I beaten sort of not the entire game, but I was able to retire, which resets the game, but you get this multiplier. So the game has sort of NG+, which is very common in those incremental games. Also skills, you can get those skills and upgrade the ones you choose. So I'm basically going usually for area of effect, random additional damage, which is kinda also area of effect, then regeneration, and I also picked those two, actually defensive style and offensive style, which adds by percentage, because if you look at your stats, you want to upgrade those. For instance, attack, HP, defense, you want to upgrade them also by percentage. In terms of items, they will add to one of the stats, but they can also have modifier, like this one gives you 1% crit, and they can also sometimes add by percentage. You can have an item with, let's say, 3% to defense, so the higher it is, the better the result. And that's pretty much all you have. That's the whole gameplay. If you go to options, you have 8 languages. You can delete progress. It's a risky thing to have it here because you may click it by mistake. You have sliders sort of with sound and music, right? You can go higher or lower. This clears this whole of noise, like this is VFX scratches, so the whole game looks kinda like an old WHS tape, and if you scrape it away, if you untick it, then you can simply have more clear graphics, which I think makes more sense. Let me just go to 2 more maybe fights, maybe one from each region. I'm gonna speed it up. So we have different region, we leveled up, which does really nothing on its own, but we can get 1 skill point or 1 start point to upgrade. Like every few levels you get a skill point, and I guess every level you get a start point. So of course I'm going according to my system into attack speed, and Let's do one more, maybe the hardest one. Right, so I was unable to beat it. I'm just leaving it. I cannot speed it up because I didn't beat it yet, so you might be able to see attempt to fight which is not going well. I will probably fail here because I don't have enough firepower or defense or whatever. Let's see what's going to kill me. A few more enemies. Everything is going on its own. I'm sometimes critting, I'm sometimes using powers. You just leave it like this in Alt tab, or you can watch it, but it's really impossible to interact. It's pretty much a clearly idle game where you leave the game for a while, then you optimize whatever you can, you add some points, and then again you let him fight. There's more clicking than in a typical idle game, but it's also not clearly a clicker. You cannot click stuff to make something better. You just let your guy fight and then try to improve him, and then you let him fight again, right? So I'm fighting this guy, he's regenerating somehow. He's probably way too strong. Yeah, he's clearly regenerating constantly. I don't have enough firepower to kill him, so I'm going to leave now because this makes no sense. I'll probably lose. Well, he's also losing a little bit, but I think I'm losing HP faster. Probably he goes into specific modes with like Berserk mode and more damage, but it's not shown by the game. I know that I have such powers, so maybe the enemies also have such powers. Usually if the enemy is much stronger, you just get completely destroyed at some point. Sometimes you can do some damage, but then he one-shots you or something. Like this was very strong shot here. And it just goes on like this, right? It's quite long, but normally if you are overpowered, you can clear levels much faster. Otherwise, it's a slow grind. Let's maybe leave it. Oh, I'm dead already, right? I can't beat him. I did like something 76% of his HP and I'm dead. So apparently I should be much stronger to kill him. Oh, you see I'm dead. But we didn't lose completely because we have all those items here. Let me just click and see. They're all weaker, right? So usually you just get rid of them. Like here I could make a decision. Do I want more defense but less HP and at the same time more crits? Would that be better, or the previous one, right? I can do this, I can do that. Maybe it's better, maybe it's not. You have to check it on your own. And again I clear, and I'm gonna show you maybe the chest thingy, right? I get items which are generally, well, supposedly stronger, but I'm not really convinced. Like this will be stronger with less HP. Maybe you can survive with a little bit less HP, but quite much more damage. Also I'm increasing damage here, and then I can repeat the process and grind. So I would give this game 6 out of 10 for a clicker idle incremental game. It's not very complicated, it's a rather simple one, but it has NG+, it has the reset. The graphics are good, they are kind of cute and a bit funny, a bit cartoony, but they are not disgusting, they are not cheap. I would say it's okay for a 2D game to have sprites like that, to have enemies like that fighting. The animations are quite okay. For a cheap game, it's not a bad result really. I've seen much uglier clickers and idle games. So graphically it's okay. As much as the complexity is concerned, well, there isn't really much. You can pick a different build in terms of stats, but pretty much you will anyway upgrade most of them because, well, why not? If this works, if I already did one reset, then you can just keep adding anywhere and you will be slowly getting stronger. But yes, there is a slight possibility to make a different build. Same goes for skills, right? You can come up with an idea that you want other skills maxed and not those that I chose, so you can kinda a little bit switch them. I'm not sure if there is cap, maybe there is, like it's hard to say. Some people were saying that there is a cap for stats at like 120, which is very much possible. Maybe you can have all stats, maybe you can't. Maybe you can upgrade stats past 120, maybe you can't. Hard to say. There's an achievement for 10 resets, and there are also achievements for, well, different stuff in the game. I have probably something like half achievement right now. So it should give you a couple of hours of grinding, maybe more if you want to 100% the game and do all those resets and do everything all over again. It's something to play in a window or in an alt-tabbed, well, again, window. Not really something you would play as a main game. I personally play mostly Realm Grinder, which I consider the best idle game out there, which is free, by the way. So yeah, I do like clicker games, idle incremental games, but most of them are cheap. Well, most of them are free. This one is cheap, and well, most are cheap, but there's many that are completely free. So I'm not sure if you want to spend money on this. You could, of course, if you want to tip the developer, if you want to thank him, but you definitely have an option to just play all kinds of free games like that. There is many of them on Steam. There's many of them in the internet. There's whole pages about incremental games with free games. So it's up to you. You can support the developer or not. Probably if you are to choose between this and other game, there are better games that are free. But this one is not bad. Some people liked it as well. I checked some reviews actually. I can see that some people actually think that this low price is okay for the amount of hours they get, and I would kind of agree with that. But still, you have an option to play just free games. And did I have fun? Yeah, I did, because I like those games, kinda. From time to time I check yet another clicker game and I play it a bit, and this one wasn't very annoying. It was way too simple for me because I prefer much more complex games in general, and in terms of those clicker idle games, there are also some that are much more complex. This one isn't. So I would like it to be much more complicated with like different classes and some more mechanics in it. But what is already implemented works correctly. It's satisfying, like all those games. You can get hooked to it. You can want to um, finish it or so. Well, they are not really able to be finished because they're endless by design. But you can do all the achievements and you can basically burn through all the areas and get very powerful as it's possible. So this definitely gives you many hours. It's fascinating. Well, those games are not fascinating in general. They are very repetitive, and you just play them in small sessions, slowly grinding towards the end, and it's always like that. So of course, it's not like Skyrim. But if you like clicker games, if you like idle games, you might like this one. The only question is, do you want to pay for it? If yes, then sure, it's okay game and it's very cheap. But if you prefer free games, I would absolutely understand you. So I give it 6 out of 10 because it's slightly prettier than others, and it has this whole loot system, which is, yeah, it is basic, but it has some slight depth to it. Like you can sort of try to make a build, or you can try to optimize, which is always good, which is basically the same thing as in Diablo or other games, hack and slash games. You also put stuff on your character and optimize him. So this element is always hooking and fun to some extent at least. For a clicker game, it's just very simple one with good graphics and satisfying gameplay. But of course, it's just a clicker game. It's nothing more. It's just an idle game. Yeah, it's hard to really say what it is, but it's generally a clicker slash idle slash incremental game with very basic gameplay and little amount of mechanics, but good graphics and I would say satisfying length, especially if you want to really do all the achievements. So it will keep you occupied for a few days, I guess, to finish and to get all you can get. Yeah, I support those games. I don't hate them. I wouldn't say they are best genre out there. If you say, do you want to play this or any other game, that I would show you many games I would prefer, not this one. But it wasn't painful to review. It wasn't painful to play. I do support those games, but they are just very specific genre. Not many people will consider worth buying, and it's just that. It's just this idle slash clicker thing. Some people don't understand others playing it. Some people play it a lot and they're very hooked to it, very addicted. So it's just something love or hate relationship. I like those. I don't love them zealously. I don't hate them. I don't say, well, it's a waste of time. No, if you want to do it, you know, for some day-by-day satisfaction, some guilty pleasure. I absolutely understand you. From time to time, I play those games as well. It's not annoyingly expensive, so well, that's not much really for a game like this. So 6 out of 10. That was Great Heroes Be It, and I will see you guys in the next review.